Alright, on this video I'm going to be doing a voiceover so I can describe to you the process that I'm going through with the panels. You're only going to see me make one panel in this video, but the process remains the same for the other two panels that I make as well. Or three panels, my apologies. So as you can see, I am planing down the edges of the boards. This is called jointing. It's where you want the edges to be the exact mirror image of one another, to where they fit together like two interlocking puzzle pieces when they're put edge to edge. When doing this, you don't have to make sure that they're perfectly flat. Does not matter, because they're going to be opposing sides, opposing angles, I guess you could say. Doesn't matter if they're flat or angled. When you put them together, it's going to equal out. But it does matter in terms of sliding with glue on them. If you have too much of a severe angle off to one side or another, the severity of that angle will cause the glue joint to start slipping when you put it in clamps. So you want to try to stay as flat as possible, but don't get too crazy with it. Now, this is very thin material, and from what you all saw last time, it was 3/4 of an inch thick. So what happened? Well, I took this to a local art school. It's called the School of the Arts, and they don't just do art like you're accustomed to, like painting, sculpting. No, they also do blacksmithing and woodworking, and they have a nice woodworking shop in the basement, CNC machines, and most importantly, a bandsaw, because I had to get a bandsaw to resaw the boards. That's what it's called when you cut them down in thickness without putting it through a planer. When you resaw it to a different thickness, saving material and creating two boards that are book matched. That is when you cut a board right down the middle, going lengthwise, and you fold it apart, and both the halves are identical pretty much, mirror images. Anyways, did all that. Now they're down to a 1/4 of an inch. And yeah, this I think this one was the top panel. Yeah, so this is the top panel. I also made the side panels and the back panel. The back panel was the largest panel by far, about 4 feet wide, 5 feet tall. An absolute nightmare to put together. Let me tell you, this one here was the easiest one, and I wish everything else was as easy as this, but I'm not that lucky. Anyways, I'll go ahead and let you guys get back to it. I'll come back in when something else happens. Alright, something different is happening now. These boards, not boards, but the pieces you see me using, the scrap wood, is called a caul. I can't remember how you spell it. It's either C-A-U-L, I feel like that's wrong though, or just C-A-L-L, or something like that. It doesn't matter how you spell it, it just matters how you use it. So, clamping cauls have been used for a long time to keep panels flat while you clamp them together, because putting clamping pressure across those boards will cause them to buckle and fold and basically ruin your glue up. So to mitigate that, we put clamping cauls on top of them to keep them flat. Tighten those bad boys down as you tighten the clamps going across, and you keep everything from springing apart. Now I will say this, the small panel was the easiest thing to find clamping cauls for. The largest panel, which again was 4 foot across, 5 foot tall, much more difficult. I ended up jerry-rigging that thing with a ton of different weights and whatnot from my home workout set. It was a nightmare. Absolute nightmare fuel. Pain in the butt. But this one was much easier, much more peaceful, and that's why I'm showing it. That's pretty much it in terms of gluing panels. You know, make sure you have clamping cauls that are the right size and go across the entirety of it. I prefer to use metal clamping cauls, but I did not spring for those yet. I will in the future be purchasing metal clamping cauls, which metal clamping cauls are just square or rectangular tubing that's got a thick wall on it. So I'll show that to you all and do a demonstration once those come in. And by that I mean just go down to your local hardware store and purchase some rectangular or square tubing. I don't like wooden clamping cauls because wood moves all the time. It does not stay flat, does not stay straight, and the one thing you want your clamping cauls to be, at least for me, I want them to be flat and straight. Makes life a little bit easier, you know. Gluing the 1/4 inch wide joints was not bad at all. Pretty peaceful. Once you have gloves on, it's really easy just to use a finger to smooth out the glue, make sure there's no bare wood spots on the joint. And yeah, that's really it. The next few videos on the armoire/wardrobe are going to be smoothing the panels with a smoothing plane, which is really just a jack plane with an extra sharp blade and set up to be a smoothing plane. After smoothing the panels, it'll be cutting the grooves and then doing a fit, then putting the framework for the doors, and after the framework for the doors is done, I will work on the drawers and all that jazz. That's pretty much it for the information regarding the armoire and wardrobe, or / wardrobe. Besides that, I have a few projects coming up, such as an end table, an epoxy table, not a river epoxy table, god, those are so overdone. It's a bullet epoxy table, or sorry, bullet casing epoxy table. And I might do a fundraiser to get the local canine a little police dog vest, a little stab vest, because, you know, I don't want their new dog to get shanked. Kind of a moral and ethical thing. So, yeah. That's pretty much it. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you all in the next video.